Ah, there she is. Hello, hello. Well, now I don't hear you. Oh, you're muted.
Yep. Okay.
There.
Here we go.
Good. Welcome. How's your stay on the board so far?
It's good. It's good. I'm just doing a lot of reading. I'm educating myself with educational law and the policies, so I can provide the best information to the public and do the best I can for the teachers and the students and our community as a whole.
Yeah.
I'm very big on literacy and reading and advocating for the best things that we can do to make our teachers safe and to bring up our paraprofessionals to where they need to be. I would love for us to have something where we could catapult them into being teachers at an accelerated rate, putting them with teachers' assistants, and then also making them be certified teachers, but maintaining their staying within the district is something that I feel would be advantageous to the growth of our teachers in our community, especially within reading. So just a lot of things that I think that will be fruitful for our community as a whole, and the students and the teachers as well.
Yeah, that's good. I know we've had Isaiah join us once or twice in the past few months, so we're pretty. I'm pretty pleased with everything I've interacted with him. So you're kind of the new person on the block that we've just talked with a little bit. I'm the guy who's across your cousin.
From my grandmother's house?
Yes, across your grandma's house. So how are you and Cecilia related? What's the relation?
That's my aunt. That's my father's sister.
Oh, okay. Your father's
That's my grandmother's house.
Yes, I know. When we came here, she was still alive, and they had social few group that they met periodically, and Marion got into that group. My wife, who died just last fall, so it's been a good interacting with your family. Nice bunch.
So, as these are all, are you teachers still? Some of you, are you retired? What are your positions within the? Are you just? What is your positions currently?
We're trying to help the district do what it should have been doing for a long time now. And I think John was a teacher once, right, John?
Retired special education.
I was years and years ago when I first got out of college, and child protective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was never a teacher, but I seriously considered it back in the 60s, but decided to go into engineering and do my teaching work on the side, working with kids, and then more recently, since I retired from Kodak and its offshoots, I've been working with the education committee trying to fight for some of our local schools, and when they tried closing School 16, we went to bat for 16 and managed to get it renovated, and same thing for School 10, which right now is due for closing, and bring in the Montessori school in, which I don't know. I think.
How is that? How is the Montessori school?
Well, I didn't agree with the closure of School 10 at all. To be frank with you, the school and the kids were dedicated, and the staff was very dedicated there. It was very hurtful. I went and visited several times prior to me being sworn in, and it is heartfelt that the school is actually leaving. Um, Montessori is a different structure. We do know that. It is not set up as your normal classroom setting or, your normal day-to-day skill sets that we do within all the rest of the schools that are, like 16 and 10. So it has a different format. We do know that. One of my initiatives is not to close any more schools. I think that and the only reason why the schools are closing is because it's a mismanagement of a lot of things. I think that we need to go in and you just open the books a little bit more and figure out what's going on. And I think the principals and everybody in charge need to take control of their schools, knowing what the data is, knowing where the kids need help, so that no school should be in receivership. Me as a liaison, I take that job very seriously with my role. And I go in and I want to know where these schools are at. I don't want any other schools to be closed. I don't want to have all our kids crammed into one school. I don't want to open up more charter schools. I want to deal with what we have and make it the best foundation we can for our children in the city of Rochester. And I think that we've gotten away from that. I think that people are in a place within the district that probably shouldn't even be there per se, because I'm coming in and I'm still learning. So as I learn, I speak. I try not to overspeak or overstep my boundaries, but I know that there's a lot that I need to learn. But I do know that we have a lot of marginalized things going within Rochester itself and within the community. I do see where there is a need for, let me just go back. The family dynamics that we have here in Rochester are not good. And my firm belief is that if we can have like the truant officers or people going to these homes and really finding out what the need is, then we can combat the safety. We can assist with the impoverished, the people that are in poverty level, the homelessness. We don't know what's going on with the family dynamics, and maybe be able to work together with city council and let them know, hey, our kids are failing, but we need this help here. Can you help us deal with this? Because we know housing is a big deal now. We have some kids in hotels. So we don't know what the family dynamics are. And what happens when we have all those different dynamics coming into the school, we have negative behavior, negative outcomes. We have what we see now is reading. Reading is a fundamental skill that we decided to go do away with our reading teachers. So what does that cause? It causes crime because the kids don't understand what they're reading. That's where we have the mental. The mental comes in from that. If you take away empowerment from any kid or anybody, you're going to get a negative response, and that's what we got. We have a negative response from our children at a very young age because after second grade, you go in third grade, they can't read anymore. They don't even understand the phonics. So my goal is to get back to phonics and get back to reading and get back to normal way of living. I think that if I can do it, then they can do it too. But I had reading. I went to prison program. I was in Jefferson magnet program, the law and government. We were the first inner city school to graduate with mock trial competition, and Harris Beach and Wilcox was our mentors. So we strayed away from all of that, and I don't know why. I don't know why, but this is why we have the problem that we have. It's because they have removed all the things that we needed to make our children successful. Technology, home economics, all these things, photography class. I mean, I had student government. I was involved in everything. So I think that they have gotten away from that. And that is why we have the influx of crime. And COVID just shed light on it. Yeah, COVID just shed light on it. COVID increased it, right? So I think that we need to get back to the basics. And the basics are giving them the fundamental skills that they need. Reading, phonics, literacy across the board. Teachers that want to be there and teach. Teachers will stay if they have safety, if they are grounded. They have everything they need to give the children to be what they need to give the children to be successful. And I think that's where we're at right now. But it takes time. It's not gonna be something that can happen overnight. But I just want to give you an overview of where I am in the sense of parenting, in the sense of being a member of this board, and how I feel that we can move forward in the right direction.
Hey, Jacqueline,
Yes.
Eleanor Coleman, I'm the scribe. Do you work with Jalil Muntakim?
No.
Okay, I'm going to connect you to, and the reason I'm saying that is everything that you just described is so much of what he messages, like he, like saying most of the cause of our violence is directly related to poverty. And that we aren't giving the resources, and that setting up this new industry, you know, mini industry is really, you know, starting the jail process earlier as opposed to finding out what are the problems and addressing them. So I'd really like to connect you to, because you're both preaching the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm co-chair of a neighborhood called Northwest Village, of which years ago we worked with our mayor at the time, Tom Richards. Evans was on the school board at the time, and Jim Shepard was our captain, our police. So our children at East High School, which was in our community, were leaving the school 24/7. Merchants were calling us. They were doing drugs behind buildings, went into the school and said, look, this has got to stop. These children are just roaming. They're not being educated, quote unquote. There's too many doors. We don't have enough people to look at them. Well, that's when we sat down with Tom Richards and the powers to be. They went in and they went to the governor, put it into receivership, brought in the U of R, and it's an entirely different child walking in and out of that school. Whenever you go in the school, you got a wonderful feeling. And they did it. Now they want to take it down because it's too costly. Well, I don't care how much money it takes. You put this, whatever's working there, into every school there is. And you have accountability for everybody who's part of the system. And let's get our children out of poverty. It is the school that they say, well, they can't teach because of the poverty. The poverty is the schools is what is causing the poverty. So please keep up your good attitude. Make sure there's accountability and our children get what they need. It's a morals issue. And everybody's getting on it now. Everybody.
Right.
Another question I'd have is about when they're always talking about, there's too much schools. Why can't we have more service providers on site? Like, why are they in two different buildings? Why aren't they on site? I mean, if there's room in a building, instead of putting another school in there, put in some of the support services that are necessary.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. I am actually, one of my biggest goals is to take some of the community organizations that we have and put them in the schools instead of them. And you know, we already have the money. We're giving them the grants. They're nonprofit, and we're already giving them money through the city, right? So why don't we utilize them and put them in the schools, and that would help with safety. It would help with a lot of different things, social, emotional skills. It would help with all that. And a lot of these people that like the Rise Up Rochester, all these different organizations, Snug, they already work with these kids, right? So why don't we utilize them and have a station inside the schools where they can combat? And so with that being said, the teachers can be teachers, right? We have security, but we also have that backup because we have people that are dealing with these children every day. And I think that to your point, it's an absolutely great idea. What I find that people are what we're doing is we're building another community within the district. Why? When we already have these community organizations that are stable outside the district that we can use to go in, and we can pay them to go in there to do that. But I mean, why are we making an organization within an organization? We shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be doing that. This is a waste of money. We are already there's grants that are given to these organizations for them to go in. They can go in and work in our schools and help the security and the safety of our children and our staff. And by talking, they already know how to talk to the kids. They've been doing this for years, right? They know they can sit down them and listen. I've been there. I understand. So I think that's a good point. And to your point, that is something that I've
also, if a child is not if a child is not going to school, there's such a thing as educational neglect, which automatically brings in a caseworker from the county to find out what's going on there. But the schools have got to make sure they get that information in a timely manner. So that's another thing that should be used constantly to find out what the problem is here. But let's not blame all the children on this fiasco called Rochester.
No. It's not the children, it's administration. We have to make sure that the administration is providing what they need, like you said, in a timely fashion. And we have to know, the kids, the family, everybody has a part. Okay, everybody has a part in the success of our children. Everybody has to play a part. It's just like a puzzle. If you put the wrong piece in the wrong place, it's not going to fit. So we have to come together as a unit, collaboratively, and work this out. And I think that divided, we're not going to win.
Right.
And we build things together, and we can make it happen. But I think there's too much division. I think it's too much self-preservation. I think it's things like that interfere with the growth of our community and our children.
The city people are starting to come together and saying, we've had it. You've destroyed too many. You've destroyed too many.
Right. And I totally agree. So I think, those are I agree with everything you're saying. And those are just some of my initiatives. And wonderful. I think that, we all are on the same page. It's just how do we get there and how long is it going to take there? This is the goal. This is our short-term goals. These are our long-term goals. But, we need to start somewhere. And I actually think that.
And do it. And we should stand behind you. James Patterson, it seems really good, too. I like James Patterson.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he takes a lot of what I say too.
Yeah, he's got the same thing. We're here for the children. That's it.
Right. Yeah, so I think that we are starting to come together. It's just making the right decision and giving us the proper data, statistics, and making sure that we're not missing anything. Right.
Well, if you
I'm a big person.
If you need us, let us know. Because you're going to need people backing you on what you're doing for the children.
Right.
No more of this. There's other cities with poverty, and they don't have the lowest in the nation.
And that's right.
Well, in the state. Yeah.
So when I was at the meeting, when I did the meeting on yesterday, I looked at the dynamics of 2018 to 2019, right? And it went from these reading teachers, 9 reading teachers, to absolutely none in 21, 22.
Why?
Right? So this is my question. To my point is, there's no reading teachers. So now this is what happens. Hypothetically, what I would think is that the reason why I think this happened is because the reason why we don't have reading teachers, is because we didn't even advocate for them. We let them go. We went from ESOL, right, ESOL, to no reading teachers. So we're giving everybody else what they need except the people in our own community. We're not teaching them phonics. We're not teaching them reading. We're just cutting them off. So, and that is why, and this is why This is what I seen just from data. It was on our live. And I said, so we didn't even advocate for reading teachers. So why would I go to school, to college, to be a reading teacher if we're no longer hiring? Well, they're null and void, right? If the engineering went down, I'm not going to go to school to be an engineer anymore. I'm going to go for a field that's going to give me a job. So now this is why we've lost reading teachers. And it's hard to come by because you shut them down. You said, oh, we're going to ELA and ESOL. That's what you did. And so this is what the problem is.
If you need us or Jim or Dad, I'm there. I'm there to back you, and I know a lot of other people. We just had a big meeting on East High School.
Okay.
One of the things I was at Dan Dermosich's Rochester Coalition for Public Education meeting last week, I think it was, or 2 weeks ago. See, none of you were there, but we had Katerina Leone Menino there, and she was talking about East High and some of the differences of opinion that seem to be going around. It sounds like the central office is trying to get more control back over East, and some of the things I recall, and I'm hoping I can find the meeting notes that Dan sent. But they basically are, she's trying to continue the work that, was it Sean Nelms?
John Nelms,
had been doing before, and there's a push from the central office to try to get their hands on the controls of school of East High again. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. I was talking with Cecilia Golden yesterday or the day before, because I was wondering what's going on, and it sounded like she didn't have a very current awareness of Katerina. I think Katerina's really been doing great work for the last several years, and I think she's trying to continue the work that Sean had been doing over at East. And so anyways, I think we're going to have to make sure that she gets the necessary support there, and I still haven't really met our new superintendent. I used to get my tail down to central office and be more involved down there than I have lately here, because I've been a bit preoccupied for the last year, but we've got to really make sure that we're careful, because I think there's really a lot of people in the state and locally who are trying basically to privatize public education, and it's in the interest of people who are trying to promote charter schools to see the public schools fail, and
it doesn't matter if it's public or private. Have both, have one or the other, as long as the child's needs are being met, that they should have the same idea.
Exactly, because they're all from my community. So, and this is the point I'm making. I don't want to see charter schools grow, right? But at the same time, these kids are in our community. So what do? Just let them go? Yeah. We can't. We have to maintain what we have. Don't go to charter. But there you go. And that's where I'm at. I'm not trying to grow charter schools. I just want to grow our community. I want to stabilize it. And that's what we have to look at. We can't, my kids have been to private, public, charter. Doesn't matter. It all did not work. My kids went to Rochester Museum and Science Center. Okay, that's where my kids went. They were going out to they were doing nature hunts at 3 years old. I was walking with them way out when it's skiing. So I know that, right? But we know. And then the second year they went there, it was the teachers were disengaged. So you got the teachers that sometimes can be a hindrance, and you got to, it doesn't matter. And me going through as a parent, and my kids being at 2 different private schools, and then I was going to send them to Aquinas, and my son said, "I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this." So it's something that is needed across the board for wherever the kid is at. We need to make sure our kids can grow wherever they're at, whatever institution they're in.
Right.
And we got to make sure all the teachers all these things. It doesn't matter what school they're going to at this point.
Who's watching the hen house? Who's watching the hen house? Who's watching? When I first started teaching, there were supervisors. I didn't even know they were at my door.
Yeah.
And
we have to make sure people are doing their job.
They would be listening, making sure we were doing our job.
Nobody's making sure people do their jobs anymore.
It's a free for all.
Yeah, it is, and thank you to your point, Ms. Coffey. Nobody is watching to make sure that these numbers are actually being met. And that they're not being fudged or anything else. We have to look at it. This right now, the district is not black and white, and we have to make it black and white again. It's not going to be 100% black and white, but we need to make sure that we do something to make it better.
Let's stop being divided, because they divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Let's start working together for the child. Right. Period. Whatever our skin color is.
That's right. I totally agree, Ms. Coffey.
They want to keep us divided, and that's where we're gonna lose.
That's right. That's right.
So we have to stay together. But the black child suffers the most in the city of Rochester.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And like I've said it before, in District 25, we have an influx of African descendants. They speak up to 7 to 9 languages over there in District 25. And those kids are at a great big disadvantage because they don't even know where to start, some of them. And I learned this when I was campaigning, that they speak May, Somalian, they speak Swahili, they speak up to 7 to 9 different languages in that Afghan. We haven't given them the tools that they need to be successful. So I know we got people coming in off the boat, off the buses, from the asylum, but we need to take care of our own backyard as well. We have to take care of these kids that we have not even provided for yet. And then we have to let the city take care of what they need to take care of, the legislature, the city council, and all these other entities of our community, and let the district take care of what they need to take care of, and especially kids in our own backyard.
And we need supervision watching it. You look at these suburbanite schools. Don't think for 1 minute there's a lot of eyes and supervision on what's going on in these schools. Mm-hmm. And we have to do the same with our city schools.
Right, absolutely.
Now, this Friday there's a meeting on the 26th of the Rochester Coalition for Public Education. It'll be interesting to see what's going on there. You haven't been to any of those meetings, have you, Jacqueline or Mary?
No. You said it's this Friday?
Yeah, this Friday at 4:00.
Where is it, John?
It's on Zoom. And
do you have to be a teacher or part of the system?
No, it's Dan Dermisich, who once upon a time was the principal at School Without Walls, Eleanor. He was principal of that school for a long time, and he's very much in favor of having teachers teach kids rather than teach them for the next test. And so we've been promoting getting more getting more involvement in having teachers really be teaching the kids rather than trying to get them to pass the next test better.
Could you send us that information, John?
Yeah, let me.
Yeah, if you send it to me, then I can see if I may be able to make it.
Let me.
Jacqueline, could you put your contact information in the chat?
Sure.
Thank you.
Let me. Let's see what we got here.
Go back. On this phone, it's just that it's so hard to. Okay, here we go.
Can I get back to East, John, while you're doing
Yeah.
that? One of the reasons is they say it was costing more money and they want the money to go someplace else. My thing is you find the money and you do the same thing in another school. You don't take away. And it was just what you were saying is they were programs that the children needed that were put in as extra for the children, and and the governor can go get more money, whoever. Let's get our children in education.
Right, absolutely. Does anybody else have any questions or concerns? I'm glad you guys invited me. It's been a long. Last year was very long for me. So.
Now you were working where last year? Now you were running for.
I actually was. I've been in telecommunications. I was in it for 30 years.
Wow.
And then I graduated from Buff State 30 years ago. I'm 54 years old.
Oh.
So and I started my master's, which I had one class left before I finished my master's in public administration from Excelsior College. I got into the love of this because of my children, because of going from school to school to school and not finding what I had when I was in school. So I became very passionate about making changes, and that's where I'm at, you know. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, in making a change in our system, in our school system.
That's what we need.
It's not a monetary thing to me because I'm broke right now. I spent a lot of my savings and everything that I had into my campaign, and I was unendorsed, as everybody knows. But I just had to do it my way, as Frank Sinatra would say.
And we're lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Are you from Buffalo? I'm originally from Buffalo. Are you from?
No, I am not. I'm from Rochester, New York.
Right.
My parents are by the way of Caledonia, Mumford, Scottsville, Geneseo. And my father was Augusta, Georgia, but my mom, she graduated from Caledonia, Mumford.
Yeah.
Yep. So a lot of my family is from the country, you know, Scottsville and Caledonia, and then Augusta, Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm trying to forward this message to you.
Okay. Ms. Coleman, did you get my number?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay. You're very welcome.
Do you have an email address you'd like to share?
I thought it was in the chat that you had. Hold on 1 second.
I got your phone number.
Yeah, I thought that you had the chat in there too with the group chat, because he sent it to my district email.
Got it.
You see it?
No, but if you've got a district email.
Yeah, it's on the school website.
Yeah. You don't see it?
Okay, I don't see it. John can.
Okay, don't worry about it. I'm going to send it because I know sometimes they get lost.
I sent you a note, Eleanor, and it's got Jacqueline's.
Perfect.
I think you should all have received this. It's covering the discussions at the last meeting and then the last Item 7 there talks about the January 26th at 4 p.m. Zoom meeting. Now, I haven't received the Zoom link yet. We should be getting that around now. I'll forward it to all of you when I get it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we have to try to get more use out of the buildings we have. They keep saying
Absolutely.
that there's not enough kids to fill them, but we must have a lot of organizations, city and county organizations that could fill in part of those buildings and provide some of the services that the kids need in those buildings. We've got to try to improve this.
Millions of nonprofits all over the place.
Right.
It changes.
Yeah, and that's what I'm referring to, the nonprofits. That's what I'm referring to. Like, we need to utilize them a lot more because they are in the community and they know the kids, so we need to use them a lot more. That's just something I think personally that we really should do. I think it would be advantageous. It also would help with safety measures. But
John, I heard the buildings were handed over to the city, were given to the city.
The city owns all of the school buildings, and as long as the school district is making use of them, they let them. But it's I think the school district may be responsible for some of the upkeep because that was.
They are.
But once they're vacated by the city schools, then they fall back to the city. So somebody's going to be paying for some of the upkeep there, unless they turn them into apartment complexes or whatever.
Yeah, it's probably, yeah. We should ask the city, what is your plan for these buildings?
Yeah, they were, I know at last spring or forget what board member or city council member was saying they're trying to not have those buildings end up in the hands of charter schools because they'd like to keep them available for the city schools and we have a lot of people coming into the city from Texas and the Rio Grande area, and I keep hoping that we see enough of a young student population boost in the Rochester area to take up some of the slack in the drop in student population, but I don't know. Have you gotten involved much with some of the bilingual schools in Rochester, Jacqueline?
Well, my goal is to make sure that when we say bilingual, that it's governing all the bilinguals in our community. Right now, its primary focus is only on 4 languages, and I think that it needs to be broader. And I think that we need to govern more languages than we do, and we don't. We have, like I just said earlier, that in District 25, we have in that area close to Cornhill, we have 7 to 9 different African languages over in that area alone. And if we don't do something about it, what's going to happen is it's going to filter into crime, because they're going to go to a life of crime because they're not being taught what they need to be taught skill-wise, skill set-wise, fundamental skills to be successful in the United States or even in Rochester.
And where economic development is the city because of the educational system and the lack of jobs is the drug world with all the crime that goes with the drug world.
Mm-hmm. It's a twofold.
It's horrible.
It's a twofold. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we have to really make an effort to assimilate these foreigners, because just because somebody comes to this country from Africa and is black doesn't mean they're going to fit right into the African American population here. I remember I was at School 44 back, probably 8 years ago, and they had, I think it was a Somali family, and they were having a parent-teacher get together at the school that day, and the family, the mother and grandmother, and came in to talk to the teachers, and the meeting was kind of, they were waiting to get enough people in to actually start having a meeting, and the people who were supposedly greeting, the various parents coming in were really tongue-tied when it came to working with this grandmother and daughter, who the daughter spoke a fair amount of English, but the grandmother didn't. And I'm kind of sensitive to that because I came to this country in '51. My mother never really picked up English very well. And, I spent a lot of my time, my life, translating for her. And you become aware of how off-putting it can be to a person who is, in that position. They don't speak English very well. They're trying to take part in the school for their child or grandchild's benefit, but we have to really make an effort to reach out to people like that, because otherwise they really are alienated from the school, and it's I ended up going over and talking to her in that case because I really felt the embarrassment or the fact that they were feeling left out. But we need to make sure we have the necessary supports in place to bring those people into our society. And we've got Koji, who lives just 1 block away, just up Rugby, who works a lot with the foreign students that come, to Rochester.
She went to Jefferson. I know her very well. From Jefferson.
Oh, great! Yeah,
I know who she is. Yeah, since she stepped foot in Rochester, she's never stopped.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
She never stopped. She used to live on Post, and then she moved over on Rugby. Well, I have another appointment. But I'm glad I took part in this. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. And I will definitely respond. If you need to call me or text me, do that. I'm pretty much an open book, and I'm very transparent. I'm here to help in any way I can. I can't make miracles, but I can definitely try. I believe in change, and I believe in working together. So I think teamwork makes the dream work.
Amen.
Thanks, Jacqueline.
You're very welcome, guys. Anytime.
It was really nice
You're
to have
welcome.
you join
God bless
us.
you all. God bless you all, and be safe.
Okay, we'll
If
hopefully.
you need us,
Thank you.
let us know if you need us to support you.
I absolutely will, Miss Coffey. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
And hopefully some of you will be interested in taking part in Dan's meeting. Friday it starts at 4 o'clock and generally runs till about 5:30. That group is, there are a lot of ex-teachers or principals or superintendents that take part in that group, as well as parents, and it's a worthwhile group, and a lot of them have also been involved in the RAISE organization, which is looking at racial issues. So there's a lot of activity there. They've been interacting with the New York State education folks a lot, and I think it's worthwhile staying in close touch with them. They usually have, maybe a dozen people show up for the meetings. There's about 70 or so folks that Dan sends the notes out to. But if you have a chance to stop in Wednesday, I'll be sure to forward the link for the Zoom connection. And let's see, we're at 6:58. Any other input from anyone? Lee, have you been you've been closely following School 10? I was hoping that we'd hear from them at this meeting, but they didn't make it.
Well, I'm attending as many events as it makes sense to do. Last week, I went to All Pro Dads, which is a morning meeting once a month with fathers of students at number 10 school. It's sort of a breakfast and a presentation on some aspect of dads and parenting kids. It's quite well received. It's attended by about a dozen, maybe 15 fathers, and they bring their children. They pick them up at their classroom and bring them to this meeting. It lasts about an hour. It's overseen by members of the administration at number 10 school. It's very nicely done. The leader of it, or the moderator of it, is Sylvia Cooksey, who is the community school site coordinator. And last Thursday, she was able to find 2 fathers who are willing to co-captain the group so that they can start leading it, and that was encouraging. Yeah. I went back last Friday morning for the weekly Cooper Circle event, which is a Friday morning 45 minute pep rally, academic pep rally that they run at the school in the gymnasium. It's a time when they give out awards and recognition for kids for doing the right thing, making the right decisions, being good citizens, being good students. It's a celebration where the kids are called up front and applauded, and they get a sense of accomplishment. That happens every Friday morning, usually. Tomorrow morning, this week, Thursday, at 9 o'clock in the morning at number 10 school, is Moms on the Move. That's sort of the mom component of the All Pro Dads. And again, it's a presentation led by Sylvia Cooksey, and it's information for mothers on their kids and how best to encourage their kids to do their homework, how to do a little tutoring if it seems to be necessary. And I enjoy listening to and meeting with these parents. And here again, there's probably a dozen, 15, 18 moms typically who come to this thing. They're running these meetings once a month in the last 2 weeks of each month. And it's very well done, and it's all part of what you heard earlier this evening from Mrs. Griffin about what an incredible community there seems to be at number 10 school.
Wonderful.
And how sad it is that number 10 school is not going to exist anymore after this semester.
Like they don't want good.
We've got two people who were on the board when the vote came down on the proposal of closing some of these schools, voted against it. And since then, we've had two more people join the board, the new members, and I think they're both against some of these provisions. I'm not sure.
I don't think that's a train that can be stopped.
Really?
I think they made up their mind before they even opened discussions about this, what they were going to do. I didn't get any sense. I composed a letter for the Engineering Society, and we made sure it was delivered to each member of the school board, expressing our concern, giving 4 particular discussion points. I think I shared that letter with you, John.
Yeah.
And we got from the school board, one school board member thanked us for reaching out, and that was it. And it pretty much gave us the sense that, you know, it's a done deal. Now for us, I mean, I lead a tutoring team. I have 9 tutors. We're tutoring probably 24 kids in the first, second, 4th, and 5th grade at number 10 school. It's one-on-one tutoring. Sometimes it lasts a half an hour. Sometimes it's only 20 minutes. It depends a lot on the attention span of the kids we're tutoring. It's working. We were off for 2 or 3 weeks during Christmas and the testing weeks that occurred in the first half of January. We began tutoring again last week, and we're in there on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Wow, you are to be commended. That's wonderful.
Well, you know, we're down where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
And so it kind of doesn't matter what's going on with East High, Dr. Peluso, closing 11 schools, closing 12, 15 schools, all of that stuff. What matters is these kids need help today.
Amen.
And we're in there today doing that. A year from today, we're history, but at least for the next 24, 28, 2 days,
You're wonderful.
we're going to be there.
What reason did they give you for closing? Size, among the children?
Well, they have too many buildings and not enough kids.
But why were you chosen?
And so the discussion that you hear is that they need to consolidate.
Yeah.
And they're going to consolidate by basically shutting down schools. And they don't say that's because of poor performance, but I suspect that has something to do with it, because an overwhelming number of these schools that are being closed are in receivership. And of course, receivership, if you don't understand it, is a kind of a long-term detention that they put your school in without very much guidance or advice on how to improve yourself. They just have standards that you have to meet.
Well, that has
a lot of those standards are tied to attendance, and attendance is sort of a 5-headed snake, only one head of which you have any control over. The other 4 heads are involved with economics, families, communities, crime, and poverty. And, you can beg all you want to beg. You can have as many robocalls going out from the principal every day at 8:30 in the morning, asking people where their kid is who hasn't shown up yet. But more often than not, there are other factors that affect whether a child attends school, and one of them is exactly how much of a priority does attending school enjoy in the mind of the people who are guardians or parents of these kids.
It's against the law. They have to send them to school. So apparently, someone isn't doing their job on that end either.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, I always heard when I was a kid in the public school system in Rochester that if you skipped school, there was a truant officer
Oh yeah.
who was going to come and find you.
Oh yeah.
I was in the public school system for 13 years. I never met a truant officer. I never met anybody who'd ever seen a truant officer. I think it was an urban myth that there was such a thing.
Well,
The New York State Department of Education is responsible to educate our children. They're the umbrella. So we have to go after them and say, you're not doing your job. Look at, come in here and do what's right.
Yeah. But an awful lot of our students at number 10, and I'm sure it's the same at others, are actually homeless. And so they don't have a permanent residence. And if they're living in a shelter, they can only be in that shelter for 4 weeks. And then they have to relocate to another one. And the school district doesn't always know where they move to and when. And so sometimes they'll miss a week of school while the transportation system is just trying to find out where they are.
So, I've been out of child protection for a little while now. No one's finding these children. The whole system has failed our children.
There's also the fact that the schools, work hard to try to establish relationships with the families.
You know what? It's not the relationship, it's that child. And if that child needs help and they can't find them, well, then that's primary. And let me tell you, when you work with the family to help them, whatever their needs are, whether it be homeless or what. So these schools aren't reporting it. This is a travesty.
Well, it's not just that it's not that they're lacking an interest in getting the kid to school. They usually try to work with the family to begin with and establish a working relationship with the family to get them to send their kids, and resort to calling the truant officer into the picture only when they don't think they have a chance of making a working relationship with those parents.
Oh my God! As soon as a child's homeless, there should be help coming in.
Yeah, well, we got into that. John Curran was very interested.
I was at one meeting. I heard an administrator say, "Well, we want to be friends with the parents, so we don't call. That child needs help. I don't care."
Yeah. So, anyways, the one thing that I want to, I'm looking at a sea of mail delivery subsystem failures. No wonder we don't have more folks. Anyways, we have to in the emails that I sent out, there's a link to the meeting notes from 2 months ago. And I went through and added some links to videos that we have on YouTube of past meetings, one including the review that Liz Hallmark presented to this group back in 2017, I think. And she also presented that to the superintendent at the time. And it basically was looking at getting local busing instituted so that we can have more students attending local schools rather than going across town to a mile and a half away so they can get bused to school, and it destroys basically the neighborhood cohesion. And she had a pretty good presentation. I recommend you take a look through it, because I'm going to look at getting some of our Assembly and Senate representatives from New York State that have been proposing doing the half-mile busing, but it hasn't happened. We've got to really get back on that horse. And
the parents can become part of the schools their children go to. This is vital.
Yeah, because right now, many of the poorest families in Rochester, who sometimes are in parts of the city that we wouldn't want to walk to school in either, they take advantage of the 1.5 mile busing requirement, and they can always find a school that's no worse anyways than the one that's down the street.
I know.
And in the process of not being involved with their local schools, the kids don't feel part of the community because they go to a school on the other side of the city. And we just destroy community. We keep parents from being able to be as involved in their child's school as they could be if they could walk there, instead of having to take 2 buses to get to the school on the other side. So we've got to try to really get back to working on that. As I looked through all those a lot of those videos, you wonder, am I just beating a dead horse here?
Yeah.
And but too many of us have tried hard to make that happen, and we owe it to those who were with us before to keep the fight going.
Well, John, you are to be commended too.
It's so anyways, take a look through that and look at that video that's of the presentation. She goes through it. It's not a very the part of the presentation on the recommendations that the Liz Hallmark's group tried to pull together, and everybody that was in those meetings, they're all in favor of local school, local busing, and it doesn't happen. You have to wonder how we possibly can keep spending as much. Some of the slides she has, that shows where, I think it was school 16, where do the kids come from? And it's from all over the city. It's not even all over the Southern District, which is what the managed school choice policy had proposed back when they put it in place. And
it's hard for childhood friendships too.
Yeah, you make friends at school and you go home and they're on the other side of the city or whatever. Yeah. It really hurts everyone, and they just say, "Oh, it's too expensive for us to bus them a half a mile."
It's time we invested in our children and do away with the money that's being invested that is wasted.
Oh, yeah. So anyways, I'm going to see if we can start. Also, I've got to touch base with Dan Dermisage and see if we can get him back on that horse also, because they've supported that many times, but it's time to do it again. And we've got just this spring here to get our representatives in Albany to try to get this through this year. But I tell you, after they had made recommendations to what was her name, Williams, was it, the superintendent? Anyways, they had made the presentation to them. She said she'd take about 6 months to study all the input from that committee that John Lang and I and several other people that we interact with had been on, and that group met every other week for 7 months, I think. It was a very intense work that we put into that, and they basically didn't end up doing anything with it. That's the thing that kind of infuriates you, because they and the day that they made their presentation, that the superintendent finally was going to get back to present to the board, she had agreed to present 3 options to the board, because the board makes its recommendations. The superintendent's got to look at how can we do this, what are the various factors that we have to bring in.
Let's vote them out.
And, well, it's not, it wasn't the board that was screwing things up as much as the central office. If you could vote out central office, it might be good. But
we ask for accountability.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, take a look at that video of the presentation if you
You did a
can.
lot of work. You did a good job, John. And that doesn't mean it can't be pushed some more.
Yeah, we got to
Yeah.
get back on that horse. Okay, folks.
Thank you,
Thank
John.
you, and
Thanks for your years of devotion for the children of Rochester.
Yes,
God love
seconded.
you. Yeah.
Take care. Bye, John.
okay,
Bye,
take
Bye,
care.
Mary.
Bye-bye.
Good luck working with the Read AI.
Yeah, I don't know
Help.
what that is.
Take care. Bye-bye.